You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And good morning. I'm glad that you're here with me. This is Mike Lodge on the WBT. So our conversation today is going to be about the economy and how we need to look at the economy and how the Democrats are looking at the economy. Two different things. Two very important things. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
Gosh, today's a beautiful day here in Palm Beach. Looking out, it is really nice and sunny. Just a few slight clouds floating up into the sky. Beautiful day. A good day to get things done. Maybe down at the beach. Listen, I wanted to talk about the economy this morning because I see the economy as a very strong aspect and product of everybody working on it. And the reason why they've been working on it is because they have confidence in what's going on in policy, in trade, in business development, and our position in the world as a leader. And let me tell you, we are a leader. If you look at the shared global economy around the world, the United States is the number one leader. And we want to remain in that position. The country that is biting at our heels is China. And, China, we can never look as a friend. I'm telling you, as my experience in dealing with China, you can never look at them as a friend. You have to look at them as an adversary. And they can be a friendly adversary, but they're an adversary. Because they're watching and they're listening to everything that we do, and they copy it. Oh, they might make it slightly different. They also manipulate their monetary economy over in China too. But the United States leads at the moment. So if you look at the countries, United States has 23.6% of the world economy. That's a good chunk if you think about all of the countries around us. China has, China has 15.5%. And then all of the rest of the countries. Japan has 5.7%. And then everybody else has the rest of the percent. Then they jump all around. Of little tiny percents to single digit percentages. But the United States is the leader because it has 23.6% of the world economy. And we could have more. We could have a lot more with better trade deals and a lot more with countries that want to do business with the United States and not cheat us, as the president says all the time. But we're doing very good. We are doing very, very good as a nation. Now, we need to do more work on our debt because our debt's getting too high. And that needs some really focus because if you look at the nation's debt, it's just as bad as human debt, as the you and I with our consumer debt. And that is something that the American public has got to work on because they're dealing with credit card and car loans and home mortgages and school debt. So we've got to do something as Americans to focus on our personal debt. We've got to start paying this debt down. And if that means that we have to get 2 and 3 jobs to do it, it has nothing to do with wealth inequality. It has to do with us doing really bad spending with our dollars as human beings. And right now we have a great economy. There's jobs out there. All of us should be out there looking for 2 and 3 jobs, whatever we can do to pay down that debt so we have zero debt. As an American consumer, you are much stronger if you have zero debt. As a human being, you're much better as a zero debt holder because you're not fighting all the time about money. So here we have a very, very good economy. We have an excellent economy. But we've got the Democrats, and I don't know what's going through their mind, but they're mad at the economy. They hate the economy. They hate to see the American people being independent and supporting themselves and doing very well. The wages have gone up. Democrats hate that. They hate that more than anything. People are able to go out and get 2 and 3 jobs if they want to. Democrats hate that. They say wealth inequality, wealth inequality. Well, maybe there's just some people out there that are smart enough to go out there and start doing what they need to do financially to get their households into financial soundness. But the Democrats hate that. They just don't seem to understand what this world is all about. So what do? They propose higher taxes. They want to raise your taxes again. And they want to give you all free stuff. Well, the problem with free stuff, that tax rate that you're currently paying, which is really quite low, is going to go up to more than 50% if the Democrats get in, because they have to pay for what they've promised. So we have this really sound economy, and for some reason, the Democrats just don't get it. They don't understand it. How often do you hear any Democrat talking about the economy? I haven't been listening to Bloomberg. Bloomberg is too new, so I haven't really been paying attention to what he says. In fact, I'll mention this. Out of all of the Democrats who are running, who are up at the top, he's the only one that has ever owned a company or created jobs. He's the only one. The rest of them have been in service to the government for years and years and years. So they've never created anything. They've never hired anybody. They've never built anything. They've never had any responsibility for people, except on their campaigns. But that's not leadership. And so if you're going to hire somebody as president, don't you want them to have a little bit of experience and know how to create jobs and know what other businesses are experiencing when they're trying to grow their business or create jobs? You would want that, right? But instead, the Democrats have gone to a socialist side of thinking. In other words, the government is much smarter than you. The government knows better how you should manage your health care. The government knows what you should probably be doing as a job. The government knows better on how to raise your children. The government seems to know everything about everybody else except how to manage their own government, their own issues within their government agencies. And then, so here you have a problem where we want, as Americans, we want a booming economy because we all want to do well. And it's that drive within us, that competitive spirit that says, okay, you know what, not the government, but the economy is growing so good at the moment, I'm going to start a business. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to look at something that I want to do. And this is the best time to do it because everything's hopping at the moment. Everything's hot off the skillet. So the Democrats are over there pushing the socialist agenda, but it does nothing for the American people except control us. So here we have an economy that's roaring like a lion, and they want to whimper like little kittens. They don't have the mentality to know what is good for America. What makes America better? What makes individuals in this country better? And that's this competitive spirit that we have. Now, I'm going to tell you, and this is my honest opinion, is that the younger individuals that have gone through the universities and colleges have learned that this is really an imaginary type of reality. In other words, they're reading all of these books on think and grow rich without really any hard work. It's all thinking and grow rich. And there are people out there selling those books, and they're making millions and millions of dollars off of people who don't want to work. You know, if you want to build something, if you want to build your career or a business or whatever you want to build, you have to work hard. And it is hard work. It is not just sitting in a chair someplace thinking, how do I get rich? It doesn't work that way. You have to get up, you got to plan it, and you got to do it. But we have this mentality that everything should be free. Everything should be given to them. Everything should be a given that they deserve it. They all feel as if they deserve it. But they actually have not been taught about how to go out there and actually work and grow and build something. So the schools teach them that this is a society now of socialism. Universities are to blame for this. They have not taught our young people how to build something. They've taught them how to take something, how they think they deserve something, how they think it's inequality if they don't get it, and how it's racism if somebody says something bad about them, which I'm sure people are going to say about this podcast once I get done. But it's all about if the colleges and the universities are not teaching them on how to build, how to grow their lives, how important it is to have marriage and family counseling at the college level so that they know what to expect when they get out. Because so many people now are not getting married. I tell you, I do marriage ceremonies for people. And what I have noticed is that the majority of the people that I'm having them say I do are people up in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're starting to turn around and saying, you know, I've been together with this person for 34 years. Now I want to make it, I want to become one. I want to become married. I want a union. I want a commitment. So it's amazing how things are turning. These individuals who said, oh, we can be independent, we can do all that, at the later end of their life, they're now saying, I want to be married. I want to be together. But we're in colleges now, we're teaching a very bad system of I want, I deserve, I'm entitled, I get it. But they have not been taught at all about how to go out and build a relationship, or build a family, or build a business, or build a career. It takes damn hard work. I have not gotten anything that I have from just sitting around doing nothing. I have literally had to beat the desk every single day trying to drum up business, because that is what you do when you're in business. And it's something that you work on very, very hard every single day. But colleges have not taught that. Even in their business classes, where I have spent some time lecturing, I have found that there is a totally different atmosphere, or attitude, I should say, on how these young people think. So I lay the blame at the colleges and universities. And unfortunately, the family members who have sent their children away to college never thought about the prospect of, what is this college going to teach my young child? I'm going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this education for my child, but what are they actually teaching my kids? So I am suggesting to all of you parents out there who are getting ready to send your kids away to college, or it's coming up soon, that you take some time and look at the colleges or universities that they want to go to and figure out, why do they want to go there, and what is that system going to teach your child? If it's going to teach them a lot of far left ideologies, pull them out. Send them in another direction. Because you have got to be able to know that when you leave this world, your child is ready to face it head on. And they can think for themselves, they can use common sense, they know how to have the mental process flowing so that they know how to build something. I tell you, even when you build a relationship, it takes work. It's not just saying I do and then just hoping that everything's going to work out better later on. It takes hard work. It takes focus. But they're not taught that in school. They're not taught anything about marriage and family life. When I went to school, that was one of the required courses that we had to take. It was marriage and family life. And I tell you, that room was packed because it was required. And they taught us everything about about the marriage life. And it wasn't just about monitoring our money, but it was also about monitoring our love and monitoring how we are respecting that individual, monitoring and working on how we are helping them feel that they're part of each other. And it really was beneficial because you were ready to make a commitment at some point in time because you had the experience in the training through a class that had all these ideas in your head of what you thought of how you were trained, marriage and family life, of what you've got to look out for. And the same thing for finance and everything else. And how we think about in business class, how do we build something? That is one of the most important things, is how do you do it? It's not reading a book about growing in, or 10x, or growing and becoming wealthy by thinking about it. It's nothing about that, because that doesn't give you diddly squat. It gives you nothing. They have got to learn and be taught how to work. That's why I was so thankful. I was very poor when I went to college. In order to pay for my college, I had to work. I had 3 jobs, basically. I would go to school from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. So 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. From 1 p.m., I worked in the janitorial department, and I cleaned buildings. I had 3 buildings I was responsible for. On the weekends, I would work for the dean of men, and I would be sanding desks and then revarnishing them, trying to get the desks ready for new students coming in. And then I worked in a furniture factory. And I worked because I didn't have any money, so I worked in order to pay for my education. And it was hard work. I don't ever remember looking back at college and thinking, gosh, that was fun. I mean, I have friends that we had really good relationships with, and they're still my friends to this day. I have one really good friend, Sandy. And I don't know how she ever did it, because we were so poor. I mean, we were literally eating 1 meal a day. I weighed 125 pounds and had a 21-inch waist. That's how skinny I was. Because I was literally living off of 1 meal a day at the cafeteria and those soups that you pour water into. Because I could buy them for 10 cents. So we were so poor, and we didn't have that much money to have for added food. So Sandy, I don't know how she got it, but she got $20 on a weekend from the Associated Student Body. And she went to the store, and thank God she's Puerto Rican. And she knows how to make good rice and beans, and she knew how to make really good food on $20 for a whole bunch of people. And I was so thankful for her, because every Saturday we would go to her house, or wherever kitchen she could find, because we were all living in dorms, but we would always have it at somebody's house, at a teacher's house or something. And we would cook, and she would cook this food, and I tell you, we were so happy. That was when we felt our bellies were full. You look back on that time and you think, I am so thankful for that, because it taught me how to value money, and it taught me how to value work, and it taught me that if I don't work hard, I'm not going to get anywhere. And I still have that same mentality now, because I was taught it in school, even when I went to high school. I went to a private boarding academy. And for me to be able to go to that school, I had to work half a day. And I worked in a furniture factory called Harris of Pine Mills. It's now gone away. But it was where they had built this factory that built furnitures for home, but they only hired students. And I tell you, we worked hard. And I was a springer. So I would put the springs in the couches that you guys sat on. And I would work pow, pow, pow with my air gun, shooting staples into the wood and pulling back these big old hard iron springs. And I tell you, it was hard work, but that's how I paid my way through high school. By going to a private boarding academy that provided jobs for us, and I tell you, we worked hard. I found the other day when my mom passed away, she had kept some of my pay stubs. And I think at that time I was making like $1.58 an hour. Can you imagine $1.58 an hour? And I'm thinking, how in the world did I survive on $1.58? How did I pay for my schooling? Well, it was hard work. And we worked long hours. We worked during the summertime. We worked during the daytime or afternoon, whichever our shifts or how we had positioned our classes that we were taking. If I had not gotten that type of work ethic at the very beginning when I was a young kid and into college and then when I got out, I don't think I would be where I am today. And that's what I'm really afraid of right now, is that I'm afraid that even though we have this great economy, we've got people just sitting around thinking that everything is owed them. They have forgotten. I just saw on LinkedIn today, somebody made a comment that said, think and grow rich. You have to think. You have to think this process through to be able to become rich. No, you know what you have to do? If you want to do something, know what you want to do, build it, plan it, and do it. That's what you have to do. It's not sitting around reading a book about how to think and grow rich. I'm so tired of this. And I think that as I get older, I get more worn out in hearing this type of conversation because it's worthless. It's stupid. I am so thankful that when I was young, I was taught how to work. I have to give my parents that. And they taught me that at the very young age. When I came home from school, I had a responsibility, and that was to go out and saw wood for the fireplace. And I sawed and I sawed and I hacked and I hacked and I did everything I did for the amount of time that I had after school before I had to go and do my homework. But I did it because they told me to go out there and work. I had responsibilities. If you do not learn responsibilities when you are very young, you are going to be a failure when you become older. Because you think that your mom and dad and everybody else is going to give to you. Your job that you get, you think that is a entitlement. No, it's not an entitlement to be able to work. That is a responsibility to work and to do a good job and to be the best at it that you can be. That company owes you nothing except to reward you for what good work you have done. But once you start failing, don't think that you have that job for life, because once you start lacking and you start slacking off and you don't do your job in the most highly professional way that you can do it, and if you start causing conflict within your company, hey, it's time for you to go. It's time for that company to say, hey, bye-bye, you're no longer adding value to my company. That's why when we look at individuals today, when we hire them, the number one question that we ask is, what value is that person going to give my company? What value is he going to add to my department? What value is he going to add to my growth? So we have this mentality at the moment in the United States where people like Bernie Sanders because it is all this free stuff. But they have no desire when it comes down to understanding that free stuff really costs them money. They don't want to think about that process. All they want to hear is free stuff. The benefits that I'm going to get from this individual. Now the problem is, the benefits that they're promising you will never come to pass. It will never come to pass. Because it's too costly to the American public. Bernie Sanders knows this because he said it in a video several years ago. He said If we had to give Medicare to everybody, it would bankrupt us. And he's absolutely right. It will bankrupt us. We just cannot do it. I would much prefer to be able to make my own choice than have the government make it for me, because I know I make better choices than the government. The plan that I decide for my health or for my eyes, I want a good plan. I don't want a government plan that says, okay, you need new glasses? Okay, you are scheduled for 2024. That's when you can come in and get your glasses, 2024. When I can go to my private eye care and I can have them in the same day. So you see what I'm saying is that free stuff sounds really good. It's so tempting. It's so nice. It's like candy. And that's what Bernie Sanders is doing. He's waving this little candy in front of all of your minds. Listen, if you come with me, I'll give you this candy. Come on over with me. Come on, vote for me. Here's a candy. You want another piece of candy? Here it is. Here's some candy. This candy is called free stuff. Yeah, here's this one. Now, this one's going to be a little bit more sour. I think you'll like it, though, but it's really sour. And it's called higher taxes. Come on, take it. Because you're getting all this free stuff. I'll give you more free stuff. But just remember that this piece of candy over here that's sour is going to get really bitter. Because the taxes are going to go up so high because I got to pay for all of your free stuff. But young people today, they don't think about the consequences of free stuff. Because they have heard and they've been taught for so long in colleges and universities that free stuff is your birthright. Healthcare is your birthright. Free schooling is your birthright. Free eye care is your birthright. But they never tell them about the sour pieces of candy that gets bitter over time because the taxes go up. So, we have a great economy. We have to keep this economy going. We want to continue to be a world leader of selling our goods and being a strong economy and providing for our families, providing for our nation. We want that to continue. But if you go the socialist route, expect that all to go away. With a good economy, consumers have good confidence. They have strong confidence in what's going on. They know that they're going to be able to find a second job if they need to. They know that they'll be able to pay off their debt because they can now work longer hours or at a second job to pay off that debt. People can now buy that car that they've been needing to buy because for 8 years ago when they bought their first car, that's now kaput. But they need to buy a new car or a used car. So they have the consumer confidence right now to do it because the economy is good. But once the economy gets scared, and they get scared by socialism, because socialism says, okay, corporations, you now have to pay more. And so that corporation says, okay, I've got to pay more money in taxes and more red tape and more responsibility to the government. I've now got to let 10,000 people go because I can't afford to keep them on. So their confidence goes away because now they're being attacked through higher taxes, through more red tape, through more regulations. And it's not just at the federal level, but it's down at the state level too. I pity you guys who live in New York and also California because you guys are hit with so much regulations, so much red tape to run your businesses that's why a lot of you are leaving those states. And I understand it fully. That's why I understand that there's 900 people moving into Florida every single day because they're trying to escape these states that are so taxing and so burdensome to run their business or even to manage their family life, that they're moving to states that are friendly. They want you there. They love you. So I'm mystified as to why any Democrat would even consider looking at a socialist view when it means that the confidence in the government will go away. The confidence from the world will go away, because right now they look at us as leaders. We are a leader of all nations. And once we go to a socialist way of life, we have now just become like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry country out there. We're no longer leaders. We are takers. Whatever they can take from the government, they'll get. And again, I say this time and time again, when John F. Kennedy said it, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And none of you are doing that. Instead, what you're doing is you want free stuff. And you think you're entitled to it. And I say, no, you're not. In order to make this country great, it takes work. In order to make your own lives better, it takes work. In order for you to grow and to be able to build a business, it takes work. It's not sitting around talking about ideologies about how we need health care for everybody. And that everybody should pay for everybody. If you want something, you gotta get up and work for it. Otherwise, it means nothing. So if you look at these countries, if you look at the EU, who are basically, a lot of them are socialist countries, how are they faring compared to the United States? They're failing. They're not faring, they're failing. The unemployment is high. The trade deals suck. They are not treating their people like human beings. They're just numbers. Because that's what socialist systems do. They just make you a number. You're no longer independent to think for yourself. You're no longer independent to take care of your family, because every part of government is coming down on you, because you can't do this, you can't do that, unless the government says. So I'm mystified as to why, when our economy is in such great stature around the world, countries are looking in at us and saying, gosh, look at America, look at what they've done. Look at their leader. They own the world economy. They're leaders in the world economy because of how their democracy and how their capitalism and how their constitution and how the government all works together for the common good of the people. And now they want to consider socialism? Are they freaking nuts? Listen, Americans, we can do so much better than this. And so we have a strong economy. Let's be roaring lions. Let's be lions that get out there roaring instead of these little kittens that are just whimpering and don't know what to do. Because they expect their mother cat to take care of them. Or as Bernie Sanders likes to say, Mother Russia. Mother Russia will take care of everybody. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He has always supported the Russian ideology. He has always supported Cuba in their ideology. He is a pure, downright socialist. He is not a Democrat. He is a person that is sitting there in the Senate with an I next to his name as an independent, and he independently thinks socialism. He does not think for the good of the nation. He thinks of the good of the elite that he knows that can run and control every single American through socialism. That's his whole goal. That's his whole desire. It's not for the good of you. It's not for the good of me. It's for the good of the elite. Anybody who supports the Soviet Union in Leninism, and anyone who supports the downfall of Cuba through socialism and then communism, anybody who supports Iran when they took American hostages and he supported Iran and was on their side, is not an American. That is a socialist. No American can be a socialist if they're a true American, if they're true at heart at being an American. It's for the common good of the American people, not for the common good of a socialist party. I want you to think about that very carefully as you're thinking about who you're going to vote for. One, if they are a socialist, look the other way and run as fast as you possibly can, because they will destroy this nation. Anyone who has not achieved anything, anyone who has not accomplished anything, anybody who has not built anything is not worthy to be a president, because he's never done anything, or she has never done anything. If they've been in the Senate or in government the majority of their life, they do not really understand how America thinks or how you and I think. They only think how government sees things. But they never see how you and I see things, or what's hurting us, or what issues are affecting us, or what laws are affecting us that are overburdensome on us. We have to be able to choose the individual who has done something. Bernie Sanders, in his 20-some-odd years in the Senate, he's never had a real job. He's never employed anybody. He's never created jobs. He's never had to worry about payroll taxes. He's never had to worry about so many different things, because he's worked in the government for so long and everything is taken care of for him. Same with Elizabeth Warren. Same with the majority of them. You have to look at what they've accomplished. What have they done? How have they helped people? How have they helped their nation? How have they helped their community? Have they built a business? Have they had the responsibility of hiring and firing and laying off people? That's a big responsibility. And if you have those kind of responsibilities, you can lead a nation. But you can't if you've only been in government life for the majority of your life. Because you are pro-government and you are no longer pro-people. No matter, even on the political stump, they are saying we are for the American people, we will love the American people. But in fact, everything that they have voted for, everything that they have tried to do as a politician has never been for the American people. It's always been for the government. Think about who you're going to hire as president, or as member of Congress, or Senate, or mayor. Use common sense and weigh it out very carefully on who will lead and who will support the American people and who will fight for the American people. If they are just going to fight for their political party or for their socialist beliefs, they are not the one that should be president. That's where you get into trouble. I love this economy. I really do. It's booming. I like to see people out there trying new things and changing jobs and starting companies of their own, and maybe even going into consulting practices. It's a great time. And we are living through it. We are walking through a point in time where things are good. We're not fighting a big war any longer. We're no longer fighting really racism, except when the Democrats are always calling out people as racist. But the racists are really getting along very well. I love that fact about America. I see more and more people every single year sitting down on Martin Luther King's birthday and really thinking about what happened during that period of time. I did it myself. I sat down and I reflected, because I grew up during the time when he was alive. And I reflected on the words that he had said, especially if you ever want to understand what he thought about education. I want you to go read his words about education, because he predicted exactly what is happening right now. I want you to understand that we are all working on racism, but we're not fighting about it. And those of you who are calling other people racist are doing it because it's a political attack now to call anybody a racist. when it doesn't even have anything to do with racism. We're doing very well in our economy. We're doing very well at creating new jobs and businesses. We are walking through a period of time right now. We are positive. We have confidence. We have this vigor to go forward and to do great things. And we're having these conversations with students who are going off to school to encourage them to do great things. We are at a good spot in our nation. So I say, let's keep going. Let's keep working together. Let's keep our communication process flowing. Let's keep talking about the issues that need to be talked about. Let's work together on this, because if we are divided, we will never get to the next place where we need to be. And we have been divided for 8 plus 3 years. It's gotten worse and worse over time. Violence and hate violence has become greater because of our political philosophy, our political way of thinking. And the biggest part that we have lost in this whole conversation as individuals, and I'm speaking about myself also, is our personal relationship with God, or in our spirituality as an individual. We have lost sight of that. And it's made us angry, and it's made us upset, and it's made us want to fight everybody. And we've got to stop that. We're a great nation, aren't we? I love this nation. I really love this nation. And when I'm in other countries, and when I'm in taxi cabs or talking to waiters, you know what they always tell me? Say, I wish I could go to America. Because they see the success of our democracy, of our liberty, of our republic, of our nation, and of our people. And they say, I want to be part of that. It's an amazing experience. Listen, if you have any comments or questions, send me a text at 818-252-5682. 818-252-5682. Just send me a text, and I'll get back with you. But let's go out and have a great day today, and let's be proud of where we are. We're living through a great time. I love America. Talk with you soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.